Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and today we're going to be going through my physical YA ARC TBR. So please, I hope you don't mind the lighting in here. I am currently at work. This is literally the only time I can film this. So I hope you don't mind. I'm in a new meeting room than the one I filmed in last time, but I forgot to bring my, oh, this is going to be a problem with my ADHD. I love to spin, but I forgot to bring my tripod. So you are sitting precariously against a computer, which is why I'm in a different room. I would have been in the other room. Trust me, I can speak louder in there. It's soundproof. Let's talk about the books I'm going to be reading for this video. So like with the other videos in this series, I really want to dwindle down my YA TBR to 0 because I'm just not feeling or loving YA books anymore, but I have a hard time letting books go. I have received over my journey into YouTube a couple of YA arcs. In the past year, I have not touched the 3 physical YA arcs that I have received. So this video, we will do so, and we will discuss whether or not I will be keeping them on my shelves or sending them out into the community. The first book I will be reading for this video is Emiko by Shieri Uegeki. This is a Emma retelling focusing on our main character Emiko as she sort of dives into the relationships of her friends, inserts herself into different relationships to try to set people up, and the downfalls and uphills that happen with that. The second book we will be reading is Twin Tides by Hien Nguyen. This follows 2 girls as they discover more information surrounding the death of their mother. And then finally, the last book we read for this vlog is Gods and Comics by Kat Cho. This is about a girl named Grace who writes a very popular webcomic about the sun god Himosu, and it turns out he visits her in real life and is asking for her help to travel back to his world. So those are the 3 books that I will be tackling in this video. So I'll send you back to Kelsey 1 week ago and we'll see you at the end. Hello, welcome to a new video. As the title and hopefully my introduction suggested, today we will be going through some arcs again that I have again, and these are more physical ones and they are specifically YA books. I know, I understand that some of my goals have been to limit my YA TBR, especially the physical TBR on my shelves. So part of that is reading through the physical arcs that I agreed to whenever ago. And I feel bad that it's been a really long time. So sorry, Penguin if you're watching this. The first book we'll be reading, we match. The first book we'll be reading for this vlog is Emiko by Shieri Uegaki. And this is a Jane Austen Emma retelling. And I can definitely say within the first 100 pages, because I'm already 100 pages in, you definitely feel it. So this follows our main character named Emiko, and she loves to set people up in relationships. So because she set her aunt and her aunt's husband together, she feels pretty successful in this endeavor and decides that she wants to continue, and she's going to continue doing this going forward, much like with Jane Austen's Emma. Emiko also has a best friend named Kenzo, who I think is Mr. Knightley. Emiko meets this new girl in town named Harumi, and she would like to set her up with her work colleague named Gareth. So the story, the setup, very similar to Emma by Jane Austen. Obviously, I know going in exactly what's going to happen given that it is a retelling, but I think it's actually quite charming. And I haven't read Emma in a really long time. I haven't read it since I was 18, 19 in pre-college CJEP. So it's been quite a bit of time that I've read Emma, at least 10 years about. I'm aware with the dynamics of Emma, but I think it's fun right now to read it and be like, oh yeah, it's true. This is happening. That's happening. Ha ha ha. Now that we are 100 pages in, I can say that, like I said, enjoying the charm. I think Uegeki's writing, it's fun. It's very digestible. I feel like I understand the character motivations. I think she's doing a really great job at describing Emiko's internal, not conflicts really, but thoughts. And she's very good at projecting what's going on as we move forward in the story. So really liking this. I'm going to continue listening to this. I have quite a busy work schedule these next 2 weeks. I'm hoping that I'll be able to read what I want to read for this vlog, but we're starting pretty late. I only read the first 100 pages yesterday. It is currently Thursday. I like to start my vlogs on a Monday. So things are going well, but I'm hoping because they're YA, they're very easy to listen to. I'm hoping that I speed through them. Maybe I could get this done today and then start another book for this vlog. We'll see how it goes. You're along for the journey. I don't know how much B-roll I'm going to be filming, at least today, because I do have to get crack-a-lackin' on some stuff. But other than that, we'll see. I'm trying to get better at B-roll, so hopefully You appreciate it. Hello, sorry we are in the same exact position, but I have not moved the entire day. I have been so busy with work. But what that means, sorry, I'm still looking at my computer. What that means is that I've gotten the second third of the way through Emiko and I'm almost done. I have one third left. I'm enjoying it. I think now I'm starting to realize more of like a criticism I might have for the book, which is just that I feel like the pacing of the novel is extremely quick. I feel like it sort of makes sense because we're trying to get through a lot of holidays to add like culture to the novel, while also explaining the like depth of characterization for some of the characters, but we're using time to do that instead of like building on these relationships. So it's starting to feel a bit quick. It's feeling like we're just getting moments in their lives and not necessarily like these relationships are building. And outside of the pre-existing relationships, so Emiko and Kenzo and Emiko and Harumi, there's something being lost with Emiko's relationships with other people. I still find it cute. I'm still enjoying my time with it as it is, but it's not like the most in-depth character development I think I was sort of expecting, or I was just expecting maybe a little bit more, less timelines, less like involvement in these other characters around, and maybe cutting that down and making the retelling more condensed for the page length at which this book is. I'm going to continue listening to this. I am done for the day for what I was able to do today. I am currently like really busy, so it bodes well because I can listen to audiobooks, but I also feel extremely drained at the end of the day because all I'm doing is like watching a computer. I didn't even have time to go to the gym today, which is okay because I still worked out several times this week, so it's not like that big of a deal, and I'm trying to be okay with not having to work out every day, and being okay with that. So I think I'm just going to chill out, read a little bit before I have to go pick up my son, and then the nighttime routine begins. My second job of being a mother begins. So see ya. Hello, so it has been a couple of days since I last updated you. Of course, why would I ever do anything without stressing myself out? So we have very limited days left to finish this vlog. Over the weekend, I did in fact finish Emiko by Shiori Uegaki, and I ended up giving this 3 stars. I think this was really fun in the way that Jane Austen's Emma was fun. So if you're looking for the romps that appear in Emma, you are going to find them in this retelling. And honestly, I was pretty charmed by our main character, Emiko, much like I was charmed by Emma in Jane Austen's novel. What I liked the most, I think, about this book is the cultural representation that is in here. It takes place in Canada with a group of Japanese Canadians, and I really liked that aspect. I liked seeing the culture. I liked seeing different things. I felt like the cultural moments that Uegeki is trying to represent in this book really set up a timeline of sorts, and it added fun elements to help explain the dynamics between all of the characters. That being said, however, I do think that the amount of events that occurred are sort of the novel's downfall. It really made me feel like the plot of the novel was all over the place. And additionally, even though I understand that this was an Emma retelling, I think there were far too many characters for the story that Uegeki was trying to write. This novel is shorter than Jane Austen's Emma, so I think the book would have been better if some characters were not included at all or had like a different representation than what they represent from Emma. And I think it could have been a much like tighter read if that was done. However, I think if you're looking for a like light, fun YA version of a Jane Austen book, I think this is an excellent choice because, like I said, I did have fun and I did have like little butterflies when the romance was official. And like with all of my Dwindle My YA TBR videos in this series, we have to decide, am I keeping this in my house or am I giving it out to the community? And I think it's pretty clear with the 3 stars that I'm going to be giving this out to the community. It is an arc, so I will not be selling this and I will not be giving it to someone who will sell it. I'm going to try and see if I can put it in like a little library or something like that. But I do want to put it out to the community. So hopefully another like member of the youth will pick this up, read it, and enjoy it more than I did. The next physical arc I have on my TBR is Twin Tides by Hien Nguyen. And this came out in December of 2025. I was about to say, like, not too bad, but we're approaching May. So it's 5 months delayed. And this is a horror book. I tend to like YA horror more than I like any other genre in the YA age range. So things are looking up for this. It follows 2 of our main characters. One is Calliste, and she seems to be like an influencer in LA. Yeah, her perfectly curated social media hiding the cracks in her family. And then Arya Nguyen is barely surviving as a freshman and academic scammer at Georgetown University, and they have never met. But this changes with one unexpected and grim phone call. Their long missing mother has been found dead in Minnesota. Upon arriving in the sleepy town, the 2 girls discover another shocker, that they are identical twins. A little bit of a parent trap going on over here. I don't know how it's possible that they don't know, I guess, if they were like adopted or taken in by family members who didn't explain their mother's past. Not 100% sure how that's going to work. I am currently 100 pages in and I'm liking it so far. I like the dynamics that our two main characters have with the people around them. Prefer Arya's storyline so far more than Callist because I find LA like influencer stories not to be the most like interesting or engaging for me, but I did like Julie Soto is back, so I'm hoping that this is sort of going along that route and we're going to have like an interesting character in a like social media sphere, but blending with this like horror thrillery aspect. But I am enjoying it. I hope to listen. And the goal is always to read books in one day. If we can't, I'm hoping that I will at least get another third in. I have less like demanding mental load of work to do today, so I could possibly listen to this while I'm doing other things. So we'll see. I have to go to the grocery store after. I need to pick up a couple of things for the week. It is Monday, and Monday is when I do like a bigger grocery store haul. I don't know exactly what we're going to have for supper, but I'm kind of in the mood for like a salmon teriyaki bowl. My partner is really being a salmon hater lately, and he says we eat salmon too much. But I can't help it. It's my favorite fish. I wanted to go to the gym today. I'm going to see if I can in the next like half hour during my lunch just to get like a shorter workout in. We'll see. We'll see where the day takes me. Hello. So I wanted to talk about how I got the next third of the way through Twin Tides and I'm still enjoying it. There has been some revelations on their mother's passing and they are learning a bit more about the like dark intricacies of where she disappeared, what happened to her, and they're also learning a lot about their backstory and how they are related to the like more powerful families of the town in which their mother has passed. There is a man who is dealing with some sort of dementia that they meet. Apparently, he has some ties into their family and the riches of which this family has obtained, as well as this man's son, who we met at the beginning of the novel. He had a strange interaction with Arya, one of the twins. And so right now they are adding this like sense of dread into the relationship that the girls are having with their father, but also their understanding overall of their family dynamics and the way in which their family has money and the relationship at which their father and mother had together. As well, there is these interspersing chapters that come about occasionally. I would say like maybe once or twice a third of this ghoul figure. And I think we're meant to believe that the ghoul figure is their mom. She is somehow pulling people into the lake of which she passed and somehow has something to do with some drownings that are going on. She is definitely like the horror part of the novel, and I don't know if she's meant to be a like spiritual or symbolic figure over an actual ghoul figure. Overall, I'm obviously speeding through this. I'm finding it very, very easy to read. I do see myself finishing this today and starting the last book for this vlog, which is exciting. And I am enjoying my time with it. It is interesting. It's engaging. I'm having a great time listening to it. I think the writing is really solid. Overall, I'm enjoying my time. So I have about 40 minutes before I need to leave and go run some errands before picking up my son. And I don't know if that'll give me enough time to finish this, but I'm definitely going to come to you later tonight with my overall thoughts on the book and perhaps the beginning of the next book. If not, we're just going to listen to that tomorrow. But definitely interesting stuff going on here. Hello, so I am updating you at 10:17 at night, which means I did in fact finish Twin Tides today. I got a comment recently that I talk a little too low in some of these clips, and the reason for that is just because my son is sleeping. We live in a condo. I don't have a lot of space. I don't want to wake him up because I'm blabbing about books to you guys. So I hope you don't mind that sometimes these clips are taken late at night and they are just a little bit lower just because, you know, I want my son to sleep. For the purpose of this vlog, let's talk about my final thoughts for Twin Tides, which I gave a 3.5 stars to. I love a really good YA thriller horror book, and I really think Nguyen delivered here. The plot was really intriguing to me, as I said, and I was really interested in the overall mystery, especially how it ties into Vietnamese culture and how these elements of a culture are paired with generational trauma. I also liked that this novel commented on male culture and how men often use their positions of power to dominate over people that they deem below them, whether that's like through class, race, or gender, etc., etc. And I did enjoy our main characters, Callist and Arya. I found them to be really interesting. I feel like each of them had their own distinct personality, but there were a couple of things that didn't quite make the most sense. It bothered me throughout my reading experience. Calliste in the beginning is introduced as this social media influencer, but I don't find that it really made a difference in the end of the novel. So why was it such a defining characteristic for her? And then Arya herself was committing university fraud at the beginning of the novel in order to pay for her aunt's medical bills, but then in the end it all works out. So it's like, did it really matter? And then their relationship, I get that they are twins and they're meant to have this like spiritual connection to one another that people who aren't twins just don't understand. And I get that, but I feel like the relationship was just too close for people who have just met, let alone the fact that they are meeting because their mother's body was found. They're also learning that they've been lied to their entire lives. Like they were fighting like me and my sisters fight, and like me and my sisters have years of fighting to back us up. Like they were fighting and I was like, oh, they're not going to talk anymore, but then they were fine. That is like a sibling dynamic, but I feel like that's a sibling dynamic that's because you live together your entire life. So I just found that to be a little weird. And I had to suspend my disbelief really, because otherwise I don't think I would have enjoyed this book for as much as I did. And I think if you can ignore those things too, or they don't bother you as much, this is worth the read. So I would recommend. I had a really great time. As per the purpose of this vlog, will I be keeping this book? Like with most of my YAs, even though I enjoyed this, I want to put it back out to my community, especially because it has Vietnamese representation and there's discussions on the Vietnamese War and how that trauma has led to these generational dynamics that are occurring between the characters. So I want to put this out into the community because it's diverse and I want younger readers to pick this up and enjoy it as well. Let's move into the last and final book I will be reading for this vlog, which is the most recent arc I received. This one is an April 2026 release. It came out last week, so your girl's not too far behind. And this is Gods and Comics by Cacho. I read from Cacho before. I read the first book in the Gumiho duology and it was okay, but I really liked what Cacho like brought forward. I really liked the like mythological aspect to it, and this one clearly has a very intense mythological dynamic, it seems. So I'm hoping that this will work for me. It follows 17-year-old junior class vice president Grace Bach as she has her entire future all mapped out with plans to become a doctor like her parents. But the weight of Grace's own daunting expectations leads to debilitating panic attacks that have made her a virtual outcast at school. To make matters worse, her grandmother and only real support system has just died. Grace starts a webcomic inspired by the Korean myths her harmony used to tell her as a child. In Sun God, Grace spins the tale of a Korean god and his love, but with a twist. The two gods are trapped in the body of teenagers, and worst of all, cursed to attend high school. Grace never expected her comic to go viral, but it has, and a new fandom has somehow conjured the real god. So I think that's where I'm going to stop. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it sounds really fun, so I'm hoping to like this. I'm going to start it now as I am preparing things for my sister's bridal shower tonight, and I just need something like easy to listen to. Usually I might listen to YouTube videos at this time, at this hour, but because I'm behind on this vlog, I'm obviously going to listen to Gods and Comics, and I hope I enjoy it. Hello, so sorry I look a little haggard. I am busy doing work, extremely busy. So I haven't read that much, but my goal is really to finish Gods and Comics today. I'm 1/3 of the way through. I think I should be able, if I lock down now and read the rest, I should be able to finish this. The first 100 pages were okay. Basically, what this is following is a young girl named Grace who seems to be very like headstrong, does everything for everyone. Big older daughter, lonely daughter, only daughter syndrome. She's taking care of her father after their grandmother has passed. And she's writing this webcomic about the Korean god Hemosu. What ends up happening is that Hemosu comes into Grace's real life and into her school. And he's basically asking her for help to return back to the webcomic or whatever world that she has created, and that's why he's drawn to her, because she is like his creator. I like the idea of this, but again, I think I'm encountering what I encountered with Cacho's Gumiho duology, is that I just find her writing to be okay. There's nothing engaging in her writing. It's very simplistic. The problem is that I'm just bored with it. I'm hoping that the character dynamics in here will be a bit interesting. Heimosu is like a very headstrong, like male character. He jokes with her, he flirts with her, and so I think that that could be a funny dynamic. So I'm hoping that as we move further into the book, I'm going to like it more. I'm going to read the next 100 pages, hopefully within the next hour, to update you, and we'll see where we go from there. welcome back. As I suspected, my microphone went off during the introduction of this video, so I hope you don't mind. And I probably already mentioned that in editing, but we're going to have to deal with the fact that I don't have a microphone. I hope the sound is okay. I'm only gonna know in editing. Hope for you and me both that I'm not going crazy about it. Let's talk about my final thoughts on Gods and Comics though, because I did finish it without updating you at the midpoint of the book because I just wanted to finish it. I just wanted to listen to it. I knew I wasn't going to give it like that high of a rating, so I figured why would you even care about my middle thoughts? It was just going to talk about like the general plot, and the general plot is really what was lacking in this book for me. So genuinely, I'm really sad that this did not work for me, and I think I can pretty much solidify that Cacho is not an author for me. I really enjoyed the original premise of the novel. I like this idea of like a webtoon coming to life, and I was interested in the dynamic between an author and a character that they've created, because it's sort of giving a creator versus their creation, but Heimosu is a god as well. So it's really like a flipped dynamic that they are facing there. I liked also that Grace in the novel dealt with like anxiety and overcame it, because I feel like for younger audiences, this is something that they could really need, this type of representation. And I also really appreciated that Grace discussed the grief over losing her mother, over losing her grandmother, and how that was affecting the like choices that she was making in the current timeline. In addition, Heimosu is a love interest that I will always like. They're brooding, they are confident, and I really like that in a main male character. But the romance overall was kind of boring, as well as a lot of the novel. Like I said, the plot wasn't the most engaging for me. It felt like nothing happened for 50% of the book, and then the latter half moved at like 500% speed. And I think that this made the overall faults in the world building more obvious, because it was really hard to follow along with what was happening or how it could possibly be resolved. So I think that this novel is like fun overall, but you definitely need to turn your brain off as to like how things could happen in like the magic system that Cacho has created to allow for these fun things to happen and to pull you in. So overall, I gave it a 3-star. I hate that this vlog did not have any real successes. I would say Twin Ties was the closest to a success, but as for Gods and Comics, I will once again be putting that out into the community. So none of the books in this video are staying with me. Let's go over the overall ratings. So Emiko by Sherry Uegeki, I am giving 3 stars. Same with, I think, Gods and Comics. There's a lot of issues I had with like the overall pacing and like general like structure of the novel, but I really liked our characters and what happened with them. Twin Ties by Hyun Nguyen, I gave a 3.5 stars. Again, I think this one was the most successful, but if it wasn't for these like structural issues I had with the book, I think this could have been even more successful. And then of course, Cacho, Gods and Comics, which I gave a 3 stars. So that's it for this vlog. I will be putting these out into the community. I probably want to do like ultimate book video and like go maybe shopping for some new releases at like used indie or indie bookstores and put these books into like little free libraries, as well as go to bookstores to sell like my other books that I have to unhaul. That is the result of this video. Please let me know down below if you've read any of them. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know. And if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. Of course, given that they are owned by billionaires, we can only use them to the best of our capabilities and to the advantages that we can. So if you would like to follow me, you can. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye.